Froggy Fresh 2012. Yeah, we back up in this. Y'all already know. Cause I am the baddest of them all. If you ain't about money, then I don't mess with y'all. Y'all think I don't get girls, cause I ain't very tall. If she see my stacks, I bet you that she calls. You know that I am the baddest of them all. If you ain't about money, then I don't mess with y'all. Y'all think I don't get girls, cause I ain't very tall. If she see my stacks, I bet you that she calls. I had to fight my whole life. I could beat you up even if you had 1,000 knives. Even if you had infinity knives, I would punch you up into the air like a kite. I bet you sleep with the night light, cause you're scared of the dark, cause you stink like a fart. Well, I like your fart on fire with my rounds. You think I won't? I do it all the time. I bet I got more money than Jay-Z. Compared to me, Jay-Z is lazy. Plus Beyonce thinks that I'm cute. It's okay, Beyonce, I think you're cute too. I made out with so many girls. Made out with every girl in the world. I might look small, but I'm not. I don't care if you're big, I'll fight you. Well, I do know that I am the baddest of them all. If you ain't about money, then I don't mess with y'all. Y'all think I don't get girls, cause I ain't very tall. If she see my stats, I bet you that she calls. That I am the baddest of them all. If you ain't about money, then I don't mess with y'all. Y'all think I don't get girls, cause I ain't very tall. If she see my stacks, I bet you that she calls. I have 400 cars. I have 400 scars and 400 guitars. I have 400 houses. I have 400 mouses and 400 houses. Bet you I can dance better than you. I bet you don't know 2 plus 2. It's 4, it's 4. Now go and shut the door, cause nobody wants to see your face no more. I'm tough as nails, you're slower than a snail. I beat up every single person in jail. I dare you to try and punch me. My face is so hard you'll say ouch, you crunched me. I fought 2 lions and 1. And I don't even carry a gun. But I never run. But I never run. But I never but I never run. You know that I am the baddest of them all. If you ain't about money, then I don't mess with y'all. Y'all think I don't get girls, cause I ain't very tall. If she see my stacks, I bet you that she calls. You know that I am the baddest of them all. If you ain't about money, then I don't mess with y'all. Y'all think I don't get girls, cause I ain't very tall. If she see my stacks, I bet you that she calls. Froggy Fresh. I already told you back up in this 2012 to infinity. Can't get out of here. Peace.
my door. Let the stars around us fall and be lonely nevermore. The way you look tonight, so beautiful, it's scary. Such a lovely bride, so extraordinary. Dark side of the American dream. We don't care when they say we're obscene. We live fast, die young like James Dean. On the dark side of the American dream. Let's light the night on fire. We'll watch the bodies burn. Dance round the funeral pyre. The point of no return. The way you look tonight, a moonlit mortuary. Such a lovely bride, so extraordinary. Dark side of the American dream. We don't care when they say we're obscene. We live fast, die young like James Dean. On the dark side of the American dream. And now that we're outcast, there's no going back. White picket fences are all painted black. 2.5 kids and they will attack. We'll have a perfect family. Yeah! On the dark side of the American dream, we don't care when they say we're obscene. We live fast, died young like James Dean. On the dark side. Dark side of the American dream. We don't care when they say we're obscene. We live fast, died young like James Dean. On the dark side. Dark side of the American dream. We don't care when they say we're obscene. We live fast, died young like James Dean. On the dark side of the American.
Stellar Corpses on Widdershins. Why do I hear myself? There. Okay, I don't hear myself now. That was fucking with me. Well, Widdershins.
We're shit.
Radio for your spiritual side. A twisted approach to the left-hand path. Yes, we heard the Stellar Corpses. Local boys, done good. Well, they were local back when we were in Santa Cruz.
From Santa Cruz.
Yeah,
I think one of them lives a few blocks away from us now.
Yeah, kids we know well.
Yeah.
Fine, upstanding young men.
Yes. Indeed.
Yes, with a dark side, of course. And what we heard Misfits before that, of course, but way back at the beginning, the artist formerly known as Krispy Kreme, who's now Froggy Fresh because Krispy Kreme Donuts, I guess, tried to sue him for having that name. Most of you, if you ever heard the song, you saw it on Tosh.0. Yeah, adding that to the lineup. So tonight we're going to have a guest, which is why we're in the quiet studio and you don't hear traffic in the background right now.
Bit of an echo up here.
There is a little bit of an echo here. Yes, good acoustics in this other portion of the Widdershins Tower, the indoor portion of the tower, as it were. Let's see, tonight we got Joey Morse. She's got a new book. She's a friend of ours on Facebook. And she's got a YouTube page out there. I've seen her stuff. A witch and an author. And, I got a lot of friends that are authors, but then I saw this particular title. I haven't, of course, read the book yet because it just came out. But Songs of Shades, Channeling the Dark Goddess. So right away,
That's already our cup of tea.
Exactly where I was going. That's what got to have that on Widdershins. I recall a time. Tell you kids a story until our guest calls in. But back when I was working in the first witch store in Santa Cruz, it was probably about 1998, 1999, when me and my colleague, The Puck, first noticed this disturbing trend, because we were involved in merchandise, the buying of the merchandise, the displaying of the merchandise, the selling of the merchandise, the tracking of the merchandise. That's how I first learned the merchandise side of which store business, which I needed to learn before I did that myself. We noticed this disturbing trend that we could not find anything in any of our catalogs, and they were, contemporary, pagan and Wiccan catalogs and ceremonial magic. It was the main stuff that was out there at the time, and we could not find the Dark Goddess. We couldn't find a book about her in any of the normal sources. Definitely not Llewellyn or anything like that. We looked further and we found, hey, what I don't see in these books, I hadn't really noticed it before. We do review these books. We look through them. We flip through them before we put them on the shelves so we can talk about the books and thereby sell the books. But the thing that just hadn't caught my attention was there were no new and dark moon rituals in all of the contemporary books of the time. And when I was a kid, when you said the word Esbit, you knew, depending on which time of the month you were in, what type of ritual you were going to, because it was the same word for both the new moon ritual and the full moon ritual. Yes, very confusing to people, I'm sure. But we could not find them. The word Esbit still existed, and it had seemed to, unbeknownst to us, over the decades, degraded down to meaning full moon ritual. And the Dark Goddess and her rituals wiped out of the component, disappeared from the landscape. We hadn't even noticed. I mean, Hecate. Where am I going to be without Hecate? Just Hecate alone. So we started in our shop. We started this revival of the Dark Goddesses, and we searched long and hard for books about the Dark Goddess. We once we moved to the Sacred Grove, we had classes on just the Dark Goddess, and it was, channeling, for lack of a better word, vesseling, the Dark Goddess. To this day, the Sacred Grove carries an entire line of Dark Goddess oils crafted by Marta here. That's Marta's thing. That was her line. And all kinds of people doing all kinds of other stuff in the shop. But Marta made a line of Dark Goddess oils. And if you look on our website, you ain't going to find no Light Goddess oils, unless Venus oil counts. I don't know. It was more of a planetary oil when I made it. But we never made the Light Goddess stuff. She was out there. She was prominent. And somebody, somewhere, had tried to make the Dark Goddess disappear, had driven her into the shadows, one might say. Dark times, as it were. But yeah, so we have a kick-ass line of Dark Goddess oils. Now, I wasn't plugging the oils, I'm just telling you a story, because that's what I do. But we got Joey Morse, who's probably going to be calling in any second now, and her book is out, and of course, and it's got a wonderful price. I don't know what this translates into in American dollars, but $13.99. And I like people that make a magical price. People used to give me shit about that from a business standpoint, but if something was going to be $15, I might make it $13. But then instead of making it $10, I'd make it $13. If it was going to be $8, you make it $9. You round off to the nearest magical numbers you have, and then your product's just not mundane. Here, let me see. Let me make sure my Skype is freaking on. It was on. Yep. All right. All looks good. We are online whenever our guest is going to call in. I remember another time that we had a guest from Scotland. The time change here threw it off. He called in like an hour early. Yeah. And I think we've had another time change. So that doesn't mean she's going to call in an hour late. If it was me, I'd tune into the show first.
I don't even understand what you're talking about.
Well, because now we've had another time change since then.
Since when? How long has that been?
Since Darren had the problem when he called.
Yeah, you think she's not aware?
No, I told her. I warned her about the time change.
You don't have to warn her about the time change. She lives on this planet.
Yes, we tested the Skype, and the Skype seemed to be working. Yeah, we got this. This would be Joey's first book. She's also got a shop here, the starryeyesupplies.com. I've shared that a couple of times. She's got a line of products too. I'm not going to click on that because we're here to talk about the book. But we are. Well, while we're waiting for that, I had another thing. This story came across my desk. We'll calls in during the story. We'll pick it up and put it on. But it's a story that I was hoping to cover on Widdershins, but we had a guest and it was news. But one of my favorite blogs out there, For Puck's Sake, written by somebody on my friends list. And I don't know if he uses his legal name. I think he does on there. But anyways, For Puck's Sake, one of my favorite blogs out there. But The Magical Battle for America. Michael M. Hughes is an author, speaker, magical thinker, and activist. He's an eclectic magician, and his innovative practice draws upon 25 years of theoretic practical occultism. He is author of upcoming Magic Resistance, Rituals, and Spells for Change, as well as the cult horror Blackwater Lights trilogy and numerous essays and short stories. You can sign up for his newsletter at his website. Now, this, apparently from the part of the story, this is the guy that came up with the campaign to bind Trump. This is who started it all. And they have an interview with him. Let's see. You started a viral campaign to cast magic to bind Donald Trump and all those who would bet him. How did this come about, and what inspired you to do so? Like many interesting ideas, it came about after a night of drinks and intense conversation. A few weeks after the inauguration, a friend and I were commiserating and throwing out ideas about how to publicly resist the relentless parade of horrors we saw emerging from D.C. every day. Tossed around a bunch of possibilities, throwing a large party to benefit the ACLU or Planned Parenthood, organizing local marches, and the like, but I felt the response to the surreal new Trumpian world had to be equally surreal. As a practicing magician, I spell magic without the K. I thought back to historical precedents when magical people and countercultures pushed back against their political nightmares. The proto-yippies levitating the Pentagon during the Vietnam War, for example. Gerald Gardner and his coven raising a cone of power against the Nazis in World War II, and witch activist groups that formed in the 60s. Felt that any response likely to break through the 24/7 news cycle noise had to be sufficiently unusual and provocative. Marches and protests, while important, are shrugged off. A mass spell, however, that has the power to captivate and enchant even the most jaded. I had absolutely no idea how big it would get. Oh, and yeah, it got big. I mean, I think they even talked about it on Breitbart. Can you explain why you feel Donald Trump is dangerous? Said, I don't think you have space for a book-length answer, which is what the question deserves. I'll just say that anyone who doesn't see the ongoing dangers of the Trump and his administration to democracy, the rule of law, the environment, working and poor people, reproductive rights, LGBTQ community, immigrants, minorities, the free press, and just about everything good and decent, is probably not reading this anyway as they're watching Fox News. You feel binding Trump and those who abet him transcends political parties. Why or why not? I think human decency transcends parties. Unfortunately, the GOP has become the party of the authoritarianism, guns, and hate, and serves only the extremely wealthy donors. It began with an unholy alliance of the Christian fundamentalist right and Reagan, an era I remember well, and it has only gotten worse as billionaire money bought out Congress and built think tanks and media empire to parrot their lies. Which is why most Republicans, with even a shred of morality, have left the party. I mean, come on, how can you be a party of family values if you're ripping babies from their mother's breasts and throwing them in cages? So far as the Trump binding spell goes, it's very specific. Anyone supporting and enabling the unjust, inhumane, anti-democratic actions and policies of his administration are subject to its consequences. It's self-defense on a global scale. Let's see, there are some who argue that witchcraft and politics shouldn't mix. You obviously disagree. Why? Magic and witchcraft have always mixed. Life is political. People who say, oh, I'm not political, or try to keep their magic separate from the world around them, are simply speaking out of privilege. Political actions and decisions have very real effects on people every day, especially the marginalized, persecuted, and oppressed, which is why witchcraft has always been embraced by those with no other opinions. When you have exhausted everything else, magic is waiting. I'm not going to read the whole article, so I'm scrolling down a bit here. We are. I'm going to go to a musical break and contact her through Facebook and see where we're at there. What other methods of magic, aside from those, do you believe should be employed for social justice on a personal level? We need to bring our entire game, quite literally fighting for a future of sentient beings in our planet. So any and all techniques, mundane and magical, are useful and required. In my book, I discuss protective magic, particularly the use of mojo bags, restorative techniques, sigil making for social and political purpose, and of course, defensive techniques for communities and ecosystems under attack. So, you need to go to pathos.com and check out Puck's Sake. See the Magical Battle for America by Matt Aron, also known as Puck, and check out Michael M. Hughes, the guy that started all that stuff. We're going to do a musical break and see... I guess I could check the chat room. No, she's not in the chat room, but hey, y'all in the chat room, bunch of people in the chat room. We're going to see what's up with our guest, and hey, how about another Stellar Corpses song in the meantime?
Okay.
I say yes.
Yes.
As the sky grows dark
Radio. Now, really quick, I met this band when local press in Santa Cruz was doing an article on their tour that they were getting ready to launch, and they decided, what would be cool? It's like, let's take them into the witch store and have them get a tarot reading as part of the interview. That became like the body of the interview. And I tell you, I predicted in my interview, I recall, I think it was the Six of Cups or something, that I predicted as groupies. Man, these boys are all still pretty hot, so I'm sure that worked out, and they're out there playing to this day. Stellar Corpses. Oh, I hope they don't get mad at me like all those other people for copyright infringement that I keep getting called about on YouTube. Although none of the bands seem to really care, but somebody keeps trying to flag it because I'm using copywritten music. Yeah, good luck. I don't have commercials, bitches. Hey, guess what? On Widdershins, our guest is on the air now. I think. I hope so. But Joey Morse, who authored the book we were just telling you about. Where did it go? Yes, the Dark Goddess book. We talked all about that and told you a bit about it, and I think she's on the air. Are you there?
I am. Hi.
Songs of Shades, channeling the
Yes.
Dark Goddess. There you are. Oh, and you sound, God, that's great sound quality. You've got some good equipment over there, whatever you're using. Sounds beautiful. How are you? How late
I'm
is it
good,
over
thank
there?
you. How are you?
Good. Was it like 2 a.m. over there?
1:30, so nearly.
All right, so you're a creature of the night. I'm sure it works for you. Say hi.
Hi. Hi, Joey.
Hello.
Well, welcome to Widdershins. I think your book came out a week? 2 weeks ago? Just happened, right?
It's just happened, yes. It's about 10 days ago now.
All right. Well, tell us a bit about it.
Okay. So it's called Songs of Shades, Channeling the Dark Goddess, and it's a collection of sacred poetry, and it's channeled within ritual, and it's separated into different songs. So we have songs of the warriors, songs of the phantoms, songs of the witches, and so on and so forth. And it's a collection of my poetry and my experiences with some ritual work thrown in, and it's designed to talk about spirituality when times have been quite difficult. So it sort of has a feeling of like survival and tenacity, and then how we alchemize difficult experiences into our spiritual path so that they become more than just surviving. It becomes thriving and engaging in a spiritual practice and finding the beauty in that. So that's what it was born out of originally.
So any particular goddesses that you have mentioned in the book that might not
I work primarily with the Celtic goddess Morrigan, and
she's a little dark.
So she's got the most poetry dedicated to her, but within the priestess section, there's actually some channeling of some other goddesses. So the Kaliach is in there, and Lilith is in there, and then there's plenty of Morrigan, and Persephone has one, and Tiamat has one too. So I just chose a selection of the ones that I've channeled in the past to include in this one.
So you're actually channeling them in the book into
Yes.
these writings?
Yes, absolutely.
Well, that's a unique skill. Be able to write that shit down. It's like, I can't even think. Anything I would say would be like...
You always talk like that.
Yeah, well, see, I'm channeling shit when I'm talking like that.
Okay.
It doesn't make it any less profound, though. I'm just... because it's gibberish.
Well, so let's see. So you got songs, you got poetry, you got rituals. Anything you want to... Any ones you want to read on the air?
Sure, I can read it. One of my favorite ones.
Well, yeah, those are always the best, the ones you really like.
Yeah. So I can read The Warrior in Woad, which is one of my favorite ones. And that's in the...
I already love that one. I don't even know it yet. I can tell. Warrior, Woad. I know where it's going. Go ahead.
Okay. The Warrior in Woad. I am her, and she is me, the guardian in Woad. A story screams across the void, marked in battle lines. I hear her scream, guttering the pitch-black chord of night. I am her, and she is me. There is no true divide. I cross the ocean bruised and weary to speak at fireside. The lightning calls as once it did. The drums of war unfold. I am her, and she is me, the warrior in Woad.
Yeah, I like that. I always go off on, when people talk about Woad, it's like people think the Celts were just some crazy people, naked, painted blue, charging in a battle, and there was so much wisdom in that. It was an antiseptic. It was a astringent. It tightens the skin. It pulls wounds closed. So,
it does,
if you're going to be charging naked in a battle, you definitely at least want to be
it's
covered
the thing
in
to
woad.
have. Yeah,
It's a good thing to have.
Yeah.
You're not stupid.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
It's also a beautiful display of spirit on skin with like the spirals and the spiritual markings on the skin as well. So it's a really interesting cross between the battle and then the like spiritual lives. So because their whole lives are tied up in it.
Midwives use it to stop stretch marks or something. I recall something like that. Yeah. Oh no,
I'm not sure about that one.
I recall something like that, but I do that shit, and I'm usually right. Unfortunately, I have a long-term memory from hell.
Well, that's something we know now.
So, is this your first book?
It is my first physical book, yes. I've published quite a few articles online and things like that, and then the videos obviously through YouTube. But it is my first book as a whole and self-published, yeah.
So you've published like PDF stuff before, that kind of thing?
Yes. Yeah, I've published, like, I have my own blog and I've done a lot of writing through that, and I've published for other publications who take other people's witchcraft or spiritual essays and take it and publish it online and things. So I've been doing that for a little while, but this is the first book version, which is really exciting and really different. So it's been an experience for sure.
How long did it take you from the start of the actual idea for the book until you were able to complete everything?
Well, I had the collection of poetry from going back for a while, so I already had most of the poetry collected and ready to go. So when people had been asking me if I would create a book for a little while, and so when I decided to go ahead and do it, I had most of the channel poetry for the gods and goddesses, and the idea was already ready to go. So I wrote the book in a couple of weeks, but then I already had so much of it ready to go that it was more about formatting it and then creating rituals and editing, which was the fun part, like trying to figure out how to upload it to Lulu so that it was formatted correctly took a good couple of days. Because that was the bit that was the most stressful for me, because writing comes quite naturally and I adore it. So it took me a couple of weeks from start to finish, but then the poetry goes over a couple of years. So you could say it was a few years in the making, and then the putting together of it took a couple of weeks.
So you'd had the idea for a little while now?
Yeah, I had absolutely no idea how to go about publishing, though. And that's something that Asbjørn helped me with, and a couple of friends helped me with as well, that they had been through similar processes. So they helped me with the logistics of it, and I'd had it in my mind that I wanted to do it, and I've always known I'd love to write physical books. It's just I have so many ideas that like pinning one down and then getting it into a book format is the bit that I struggled with, on top of everything else that I do. So yeah, it's definitely been an experience publishing and getting it out there.
Yeah, I'm just waiting for them to have software that can actually dictate as fast as I speak, and then I'll do it. Oh, what's that? I just need to talk. I can't sit there and fucking type. I'm like 10 ideas.
I'm the opposite. I'm the opposite. I'm like an idiot if I have to speak, but I can write.
So, see, that's where I'm lucky. It's like when I finally get there, I've got the world's greatest editor from hell right here. And so if I hand it over to her, I'll catch a lot of shit about every mistake I made, but that shit will be glistening when it comes out. Say it.
There you go. It's a team.
But she kind of takes it personally when you do something wrong.
Only if I've told you a million times and you keep doing it.
Then she's really pissed. But yeah. The editing is definitely not my thing. I can barely use spell check, and I need it badly.
It's always the people who need it who don't use it.
That's true. That's true for so many things, right?
Yeah.
All right, so you got a second favorite?
Oh, okay. Yes. Songs of the Witches is probably my second favorite.
We got some of those around here.
I've got some of those around here too. Okay, so Songs of the Witches. Oh, witches, you have the power burning through your veins. It's so ancient it sings of time. So primal it howls. Feel the earth beneath you, not merely in the language of flowers, but the roots of all things. Deeper in the dark soil, in the mouth of caves as you stare down the throat. Feel the fire within you, not just the warmth of hearth, but the raging inferno that destroys and leaves creation in its wake. Feel the storm coming, the cracking whip of change incarnate. The rain beating in its rhythm, soaking your bones in memory. You were not meant to be civilized. You were born to remember. Hold me in the winds of all that is coming, until our souls shake at the vibration, knowing that we can be unmade, riding the dark mare into a new world. We are one. We are ancient. We are free.
Woot! Oh, I liked it. I liked it. So, you also have a YouTube channel, right?
I do, yes.
Tell people
I've
what
been
that
on
is.
YouTube for 5 or 6 years at this point. It's been a long time on YouTube at this point. It might be longer than that. I lose
Long
count.
time. I'm like your great grandfather of YouTube, man. Long time. I look back at like some of my videos, like my first couple videos. Go, really? They have a date stamp on them. It's like that's been that fucking long. It's like time. The older you get, the faster time moves. But yeah, there's so much. There wasn't a whole lot of that out there when I started, but now there's so much. I'm going to be on the next Freighter X or Freighter Xavier any day now. I'm waiting for that one to come out so I can plug it all over my page. Oh, I just told people on Wittershins. Oh, damn! I don't know if I was supposed to say something. I said it.
Too late now. But that's exciting.
Yeah,
He has some incredible-
It's always been one of my favorites, and been a really good friend of mine. Actually, a good customer for a long time too. Yeah. Guy I know well from way back, but there's certain people, like I think your man has a couple people on his friends list that I've known forever on YouTube. Was that Dutch guy? I forget what his name is. Dutch. So I don't know. There's a couple people, but there's some really old time YouTube teachers out there still floating around, still doing stuff. There's just so much out there now, and then now there's all of the other magics out there now too. There's Conjure, there's even Palo. Palo's on YouTube. People don't like that very much. There's so much out there. Used to be books. Books was the only way. Now there's you can't just do books. You got to be all over the place. So what's your? Did you give your channel yet? I don't think you did. What's your channel on YouTube?
It's Starry Little Lady, but it's probably easier just to type Joey Morris Witch into the YouTube search engine, especially given that YouTube is falling apart at the minute. So it's probably easier to find me through Facebook. That tends to act as my hub, and then you can find everything through there or through the store. And that's facebook.com/starry-eyed supplies, and you can just find everything from that point. It's just much easier.
Yeah.
And I can actually respond to you, which I can no longer do on YouTube because they've removed messaging.
What?
Yeah. They removed the ability to send emails through your YouTube message box, and so you can't.
I never do that
anymore.
So I didn't even notice it was gone. I respond to comments here and there, but I never send them like a personal message.
Yeah, I always forgot the YouTube messages, and then suddenly realized I had them at the end of the month. That's probably why they've removed it, because nobody bothered.
Yeah, it's like anything I have to say on my YouTube channel, I'll say it publicly.
Yeah,
very few trolls. I got to say, I knocking on wood, I've been very fortunate. The lack of trolls. I've heard some like horror, even like Frederick Xavier, man. He's got like just horror stories about YouTube trolls. I've done okay. Maybe because my page is kind of obscurely named, it's harder to find.
I mean, I can give you horror stories about trolls on YouTube.
Yeah. Well, and you've had a lot of problems with YouTube itself. And
yes,
a lot
I
of
have.
the problems
Yeah.
that I've heard going on with YouTube, I heard from you first. So talk about that.
Yeah. So YouTube put a strike against my account. And they put a strike against my account on a video that was about a spell oil. So there was nothing salacious in a video that was showcasing a spell oil. There was nothing they could have caused to complaint about. And the video itself was like 3 or 4 years old at the time, so it had been there for 3 or 4 years with no problems. And suddenly one day there was a strike against it. And I don't know if somebody was trolling and that's the video they chose, or if it was just YouTube being strange, but they put a strike against it. And they stopped me using the YouTube Live feature for 3 months.
What?
And at the time, I'd been doing a lot of lives with my dear friend Chris Ashburn, and we were chatting about things probably once or twice a week. And we were using the live feature just because it was easiest. So we couldn't do that for 3 months. And I sent them 18 emails, and they did not respond at all. And they never got back to me or anything like that. So I had to wait for over 3 months until I could use the live feature again for a spell oil video that was doing no harm to anybody. It was, here is a spell oil, here are some of the energies within it, here are some of the things you can use it for, and that was it. So, and then some of the videos that are on YouTube that they get away with are crazy. And this is me there with my little spell oil being banned off YouTube. Yeah.
So you got some haters. You got some haters out there.
I don't know if that was a hater or a troll, or if that was just YouTube. I've no idea, because nobody would correspond with me.
Yeah, I haven't had that happen with YouTube, but I know it's like, if you're dealing with Facebook, it's like you have to get 50 people to flag a thing for any movement to happen at all. It's like I got one person that flags all of the Widdershins episodes, and as such you get a list of all of the songs that we played, because they're all being flagged for copyright infringement by some fool out there. But being that we're playing all these punk bands, I have yet to be contacted by the punk bands to tell me to stop doing that, because they're just glad anybody's playing them.
Yeah, who has the time to flag every single one? That's crazy.
For the longest time, I have I think 1 to 2 dislikes on every video. I've got, I think I'm close to 300
Yeah.
videos now, and I'll have like 1 to 2 dislikes. And I had a friend of mine who's a hacker look into that and track that there's one person that went through every video just to dislike it, giving me a hit.
Yeah.
They gave me a hit to dislike it. It's like,
Well,
you guys
it just-
don't understand how this works.
Yeah, it just increases the popularity of your video to do that, so it doesn't really take anything away from you at all. Yeah, I've got
Thanks,
about
guys.
3 or 4 of them who do that to my videos. Yeah, it's always good fun.
Yeah.
The best one is when you've uploaded a video and within seconds it's got a dislike on it. Like, so you didn't watch it or anything. It's just because it's one of mine.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that shit. All right, we should take a musical break and urinate and stuff.
Yeah.
All right, we'll be right back with Joey Morse about her book and things on Widdershins.
From the cradle bars comes a beckoning voice that sends you spinning. You have no choice. You hear laughter cracking through the walls, it sends you spinning. You have no choice. You hear laughter.
L7 on Wittershins. I misspoke, not 25 songs. Because it goes on and on like that. Yeah, L7 and the damn song already. Shit list on Wittershins Radio. And two of Marta's, favorite songs right there.
What?
Shit list and Spellbound.
Yes.
Yes. See, I told you so.
Yeah, he knows his stuff.
And we got Julia Morse on the line, talking about her book and her YouTube channel. And you got a blog too. So you go to the Starry Eyes Productions, what is it, .com? I had it right here.
StarryEyedSupplies.com.
StarryEyedSupplies.com.
Yep.
And links everywhere to all of the stuff there.
Yes.
See, I need to do that. It's so much easier.
What type of stuff do you enjoy blogging about?
Witchcraft, spirituality, dark goddess stuff. I've been really interested lately, talking about shadow work, but also the idea of masks within spirituality, because a lot of people use the masks as kind of like the idea of being deceitful and saying you never see a person's true face. But what I thought was more interesting was taking it back to the idea of when we used to be shamanistic with masks, when we used to look through masks in order to learn the lessons and take on the traits of who we were looking through the eyes of. And I took it to like an animalistic place. So I've been like experimenting with the idea of looking through the eyes of a wolf or looking through the eyes of a hawk and things like that as a form of mask and what the lessons are. So a lot of the blog has been around that for a little while because I find that really interesting and kind of stepping outside of what the conventional wisdom is now versus things that we might have forgotten. And I find that really interesting. So that's what the blog's been about of late.
What the conventional wisdom is now. You got an example?
So people like to share the idea now that people who wear masks are being deceitful. And there's like the meme goes around that, you're privileged to see truth in a world full of masks. And that's kind of like the conventional wisdom that everybody talks about in terms of spirituality for the most part. Not everybody, but en masse, that's what people talk about. And I always feel that this idea that that's what's true and what's not is really problematic, because you have people saying, well, this is what a real witch is and this is what truth is. And rather than explore all the many different variations of what truth might be to different people, you've got people trying to lay down the law about what a real witch is or whatever. And so for the mask energy, the one I really found the most interesting so far was like the energy of snake. Because that went down a path with the Gorgons and Medusa and Athena. And that kind of played into those stories, played into those energies. And as I was researching and kind of feeling those energies out, I came to this kind of feeling with Athena and Medusa that what if the stories that we're being told about them are wrong, and actually Athena and Medusa were involved with one another, because Medusa had rejected men, and Athena is quoted as being one of the goddesses that couldn't be influenced by Aphrodite. And so I wondered if they'd had a relationship and that had got kind of twisted through the myth and to the myth that we know today. So the truth of it is kind of like underneath the surface of what the mask of what we've got left in terms of mythology and what we think we know versus perhaps peeling back some of the mythology and kind of really digging into it and feeling a different interpretation and seeing what we can get in terms of spiritual journey work with, in that case, the mask of snake and the kind of transformation energy that comes through when working magically with it.
You can't just nod. Nobody can see you nodding. That's deep. That's deep. Yeah. All right, I got your example. And that's the blog. What kind of? So you got in trouble for a spell oil? Like, did you give out the recipe or?
Yeah, well,
I'm trying to wrap my head around this because I do that shit all the time.
It was so when people order through the store, sometimes they ask me to make videos about the energies of the spell oil that they've asked for. So I will talk about the story behind the spell oil. So say somebody had a Morrigan spell oil and they wanted the Morrigan spell oil to be for a particular aspect of her energy. So say it was sovereignty. And I would talk about like weaving the stories into it and the myth into it, and then I might talk about some of the herbs and things that went into it maybe, and the energies in general. And then some of the videos have like suggestions on how to use them. And that would be it. That was it. And I mean, I honestly feel like the spell oil was an esbat oil, which was for the properties of, I think it was lilac. It was either lilac or violet. So the entire video was magical properties of violet or lilac, I can't remember now, one of the two, and then talking about infusing it over a month, so using the moon energies. It was not a very long video either. It was only quite a short video, for like 3 or 4 minute video, just to showcase, because somebody had asked me to do that, and that's the video that got flagged. So
what did they say was the problem with it?
I don't know that they gave me a finite reason. They just was like, it's against our guidelines. And because they wouldn't respond to me about why it was against their guidelines. And I sent message after message after message trying to get someone to talk to me, and they wouldn't. So
See, Birch had problems with them several years back, and he said there's really nothing you can do about it. Once you're on their shit list, that's it.
Well, when I first had enough viewers to get AdSense and get ads on my page, I also put it on my shop's webpage, and apparently therein was the problem. I didn't. The shop's webpage at that time wasn't very secure, and somebody was able to apparently like just click on an ad a buttload of times and get me flagged. And I got flagged with AdSense, and they blocked it. I couldn't do, I can't monetize anything. And I'm fucking so far beyond, where you should be to be able to monetize. I'd be monetizing the fuck out of this shit. But they have this appeals process. So you got to do it every like 3 months. I send it in every 3 months, and I'm sure nobody reads it.
no.
It's like something about like once you've had a problem with AdSense, they won't explain the problem, they won't talk to you, they won't discuss it, and you're fucked pretty much forever, it seems. And
well,
they've
started
to resubmit it again. I do it every like 3 months. I resubmit the fucking thing again. But I just had to figure out other ways to make my YouTube channel financially viable.
Yeah. Well, they've started flagging videos for things in the titles, because I've had videos flagged and demonetized for having the word witch in the title. I had one flagged and demonetized for having tarot in the title. And I've been I've really been put off YouTube lately, and I haven't been making as many videos because of all this nonsense is getting worse and worse. But they're definitely like targeting pagan style videos now. If it's not Christian, you get flagged.
That sounds like something that might have to be covered on Widdershins. Yeah. Yeah. Ooh. Oh, shit. They got Marta getting ready to do some research. You bitches are fucked. Oh, YouTube? Oh, you and your billions. Oh, you're fucked, man. If you get Marta doing some research, man, she's going, oh. I wouldn't want to piss her off, dudes. No. Just saying. Got an eye for detail, this one. Yeah, that's something we're gonna have to look into, because I'm sure that happens. That's what happens. Etsy. I think I still have an Etsy page. They keep trying to get me to pay a bill. but But yeah, I heard problems with Etsy, and then I think eBay had some problems with that. Yeah, I'm not doing that stuff. It's like I think I have like candles and some mojo bags, some like random shit on Etsy. Still at the Santa Muerte candles. But it's just, Etsy's not fucking worth it. Maybe I don't know how to do it right. Maybe you got to set a minimum order, but it's like, I ain't going to the post office for $3, bitch. You know, it's like, you ordered a cascaria, a one cup of. I just, I shouldn't even be able to sell just one cascaria. There's got to be a way to set it up, but it's just not worth my time, really. But yeah, I heard that about Etsy. I heard about eBay. Well, now we're hearing about YouTube. It's interesting because that's my whole presence on YouTube. That's how it fucking started. that's everything I do on YouTube. So, but now we have Gumroad. Fuck y'all. Gumroad isn't fucking with us at all, y'all.
It doesn't make any sense because from a business perspective, it's really poor. I mean, there are a lot, and we've already said, there's an increasing number of pagan or spiritual YouTubers who are not Christian in any way, and you're only shooting yourself in the foot if they go somewhere else and pay for someone else's services. So, yeah, it doesn't make any sense to me at all.
Yeah, it took me a long time to grasp business. Like, I used to do shit like, I ban authors because I didn't like them. I banned certain books because I personally didn't like the practices. It's like, no, you can't do that when you're in business. So eventually we had a section in our shop called the Western Mysteries. Yeah. It had the Bible, the Quran, and the Torah. All right next to each other.
That came with its own problems too.
Yeah, that apparently pissed off a Muslim, but yeah, that's a whole other story.
Oh.
But like, I hate Silver Ravenwolf. And I banned her from my shop for a decade at least, and that's a bad business decision. Because I don't like the stupid bitch. Doesn't mean I shouldn't sell her book. If people want to come buy her book from me, I should sell her damn book, whether I disagree with it or not. It took me
you could take the money and then maybe give them an advice on a better book in the future. Or something.
Yeah. After they pay me, yes, that's the thing. Is I would talk shit before they bought the book. Bad business. Mm-hmm. We all have to wrap our heads around capitalism at some point. For us anarchists, it's difficult, but got to be done.
You came around.
I came around. Doing all right. All right. So your book is so you just go to the Starry-Eyed Supplies, and there's the link to your book.
Yes, you can find it on the store page on there. That's the only place I'm selling it at the minute. I will probably put it up on Gumroad and Lulu eventually, but at least in the beginning I kind of wanted to keep an eye on it so I know who's had one and I can track it and I can keep an eye on shipping and things like that, at least in the beginning. And then when people who I know are going to want one, and when that's done, and then I can open up it in Lulu and Gumroad, so that, because I'm pretty sure Lulu will advertise it on their own to help them make money as well. So it will be available there eventually, but for now it's just on my store.
So I haven't even thought about that. Gumroad. So what would be like a PDF version? If you put it on
maybe
Gumroad?
Eventually, yeah.
Okay, yeah, I've seen that function. I hadn't really thought about that, but that's interesting. Yes, Gumroad. So many things to do there. For me, whenever I'm talking to somebody that's an author in this day and age, I just got to put out fucking audiobooks, man. Especially if you're going to do like PDF, you're going to do print. It's like I get so much more audiobooks done than I do print. And there's a few, a very small handful of good craft books that you can get on like iTunes and stuff. And it's like, I got much more ear time than I got eye time.
Yeah.
My eyes are busy doing other stuff, so I don't have a whole lot of like reading time. It's like audiobooks, and audiobooks are like totally different. Like my favorite got to be the 48 Laws of Power. And for a while I had possession of it in print, and the print version was its own special gem. It was just, the print version was different than the audiobook. And that's often how they are. There's a couple occult authors that have put their things on audiobooks. Raven Gramassi did one. I've got the book in print, and I've got the audiobook, and they're both kind of their own thing on their own. But I always like to throw that out there. And if you ever, need somebody to, read your audiobook or narrate it, I'd be glad to.
The dulcet tones of Mr. Birch reading.
Yeah, you got a pretty good voice for that.
You think I got a good voice?
I gotta hand it to you. Yeah.
Yeah, my friends always told me
Yeah.
what a good voice I had. And if you got that reference, you're old. That was a commercial for a radio school in Los Angeles in the 80s.
I was around in the 80s.
I know. So, I know you're old. You're not as old as me, but she smacked me. You didn't see that. I got a face palm from her.
Lessons. Don't talk about a woman's age.
Right?
Yeah.
And don't ever ask her if she's pregnant.
No, I learned that one.
That's a bad
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a bad one.
Yeah.
So your book's available $13.99. What is that, pounds?
Yes.
I think it's pounds. What is that American, Is it still a cool number? Because that's a good number right there, $13.99.
It's probably less cool.
I chose it on
Probably less cool in
purpose
dollars.
to be a cool number.
Everything's less cool in dollars these days.
Everything American just sucks right now.
Everything American right now just sucks, but, that's for another show. So, any other select tidbits you'd like to read from your book? Live on the air. On Wintership.
Let's see. I did have one, and Asbjorn's moved and the book's fallen in on itself. Hang on. Okay, there's River Witch, which I really like. Okay. River Witch. I found my soul down by the riverside, where the bank broke down and the old world sighed. It's tangled up with weeds and turf, the song of water waking within the surf. I delved in deep before I knew, asking questions, floating sticks of you. Fixing lanterns to reed staves, marking out all the once forgotten graves. I parted mist and I borrowed time, watching fireflies dancing at a moss-clad shrine, humming songs that the wind brought, of battles long gone and well fought. I found my soul down by the riverside, where the stones bring swell by the moontide. The spirits pass on in lament, at a life they knew on the final day of the rent. I guide them home and sanctify all the tales that slowly pass me by and by.
I've spent a lot of time in coffee houses and have disliked most poetry I've heard for a long time since then. I like your stuff. I like your stuff.
I was worried then.
I become, pretty much devoid of. There's no poetry.
Do you read your poetry anywhere?
I've read some of it on the YouTube channel, but that's the only place you'll hear me read it. Sometimes I do, particularly if it's a channeled goddess piece and I feel that it needs to be spoken, because some of the goddess pieces, they feel different when you speak them than when you read them. So there's definitely some on the YouTube channel, yeah.
Well, another thing I wanted to ask you, and we probably should have led with this when you first came on. Can you tell us a little bit, kind of your bio and what brought you to your practice and things like that?
Sure. Yeah. Okay. So, I guess you would call me a Celtic witch if we have to pick a label. And that's been a lifelong journey. I've been on YouTube for, I think it's 6 years, discussing spirituality and anything that came into my path. And I originally started that because I wanted to reach out and connect with people. And I'd done a lot of study by myself in the years previous. And I came to a place where I just wanted to connect and hear different stories and share my experiences, because I didn't know anyone in person who was pagan at the time, or a witch, or any of those denominations, however you want to label it. And that grew into me becoming a creatrix, if you like, having my own store, creating physical items and selling that through Starry-Eyed Supplies, and the writing and many areas kind of all wove into one as a result of that beginning point. And there's so much. I sometimes feel that I do too much of everything sometimes, because it's difficult to put it into words. It's like, I do this and this and this. So that's kind of how it evolved. I enjoy being a spiritual business owner. I enjoy being an author and doing the blog and the books and the podcasts. I do a podcast with Chris Ashburn called What the Flux, and talk about things in the liminal.
I like it.
And we talk about things from an outside of the box perspective, and try and play with preconceived ideas, and then play with the what ifs and liminal spaces and things. And we create meditations, and I write the journeys every other month for that, and we create long trance meditations for everybody in that once every 2 months. I think that's everything. So yeah. And I work with the goddess Morrigan personally, and I really enjoy kind of a nature-based energy. I really enjoy the spiritual energies of Ogham, which is tied to trees. It's kind of like the Celtic runes, for anybody who's confused about that. And I really enjoy working with them, and working with trees, and working with plants, and the spirits surrounding them. And I think that's pretty much me in a nutshell.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to talk about yourself, I know.
But you got to be a public person. You got to get good at it. Yep.
Yeah, but I have to deal with Asbjorn, who's like a master in talking about himself.
Right.
Yeah.
He likes to talk about
Well, he went kind of dark, so we don't hear that much from him these days. But
Oh, it's all right. He's just grumpy right now. I'll get over it.
he's been through a lot. Y'all been through a lot. I wasn't really going to bring up the connection, but yeah, they've been through it. They had the neighbors from hell.
Yeah.
For a long time. And everybody they know working magically to drive their fucking neighbors out. It finally worked.
It did, and today we had even more confirmation, because their family was carrying all their furniture out today. So thank you to everyone that helped, because it's done now. He's gone.
Oh, bad neighbors, man. Ain't nothing worse than fucking bad neighbors.
We've been through with bad housemates.
Yeah. Well, we had bad squatters last time.
Squatters.
Yeah, which were our neighbors and squatters at the same time. But that's another story.
Wow.
God, I had a question before we went on that banter. What do you got?
Well, no, I was going to ask you. What were you going to ask?
Well, you were going to ask me what I was going to ask. Well, that's fucking helpful, co-host. So I imagine, you've got a line of products. I imagine oils are in there because you were talking about it on YouTube. So what kind of things, like spell supplies, gifts? What kind of thing you got over there?
It's mostly spell supplies. So I create. Well, now I'm going to have to think. Okay, so we have candles in various different forms. spell oils and anointing oils. The anointing oils are more like a perfume. Herbal blends, salts, smudges. I've just started doing incense sticks because I was kind of against doing incense sticks. Yes.
You're making sticks.
Making incense sticks, yes, as opposed to the loose incense.
That is a fucking endeavor. Oh my god, yeah.
I was kind of against it for a very long time. As a lot of people do them as well, and I was like, well, I couldn't think of a way that I was happy that they would be different enough, because I don't like to cross over into what other people are doing if I can help it. And so in the end, I was like, well, if I do my signature scents that I know are popular with people. So the first one me, myself, and I have done is Blade Over Shield, which is a Morrigan protection. And the Blade Over Shield is one of my first initial Morrigan products that's been on the store for the longest time and does really well. So I took the scent and created incense sticks from that, and that's been doing pretty well, and that's a new thing for me. So that's pretty cool. Spell orbs, which like your hanging witch balls kind of thing.
Whoa. Describe these hanging witch balls. That's not a common terminology over here.
Well, I call them spell orbs because, witch balls sounds like something else. It sounds like we're peddling flesh. But they are clear glass ball ornaments with ribbon, and I usually have charms and a spell within them, and then it will have flowers or herbs or barks or feathers sometimes within them to create a spell within them, and they will be dedicated to a particular spell energy or a goddess or god energy, things like that.
And one would hang them up?
Yes. Some people actually put them in little bowls and then put them on their altar, and I've seen a few people have bought those little tree ornaments, the like metal trees, and then they'll hang a couple on them, which is pretty cool. I've had people send me pictures of where they bought 4 spell orbs and then bought a little tree and decorated them with it. That's kind of cool.
When I pictured a little Christmas tree with the witch balls hanging from it.
Yeah, you could absolutely do it that way.
We've got some time before Christmas. We got to order some.
Yeah.
We got so much shit already. We got so much shit to put on our tree, though.
Yeah.
But now we got a high ceiling,
yes.
High tree. Woo!
Yep.
I didn't think of that. Bigger tree.
Yep.
We can fit all our ornaments. Get more.
Yes.
Witch balls. Never heard of witch balls.
Nope.
All my years, witch balls is a new thing.
Yeah.
Huh.
Do you have pictures of them on your site?
Yes, absolutely. There's pictures of everything that I do on there. Yeah.
Check them out. All right. We're going to play some music, do some other stuff, and be right back.
I ache for the touch of your lips, dear, but much more for the touch of your whips, dear. You can raise welts like nobody else as we dance to the masochism tango. Let our love be a flame, not an ember. Say it's me that you want to dismember. Blacken my eye, set fire to my tie as we dance to the masochism tango. At your command, before you here I stand. My heart is in my hand. Ugh, it's here that I must be. My heart entreats, just hear those savage beats, and go put on your cleats and come and trample me. Your heart is hard as stone or mahogany. That's why I'm in such exquisite agony. My soul is on fire, it's aflame with desire, which is why I perspire when we tango. You caught my nose in your left castanet, love. I can feel the pain yet, love, every time I hear drums. And I envy the rose that you held in your teeth, love, with the thorns underneath, love, sticking into your gums. Your eyes cast a spell that bewitches. The last time I needed 20 stitches to sew up the gash you made with your lash as we danced to the masochism tango. Bash in my brain and make me scream with pain, then kick me once again and say we'll never part. I know too well I'm underneath your spell, so darling, if you smell something burning, it's my heart. Excuse me. Take your cigarette from its holder and burn your initials in my shoulder. Fracture my spine and swear that you're mine as we dance to the masochism tango.
Well, you tried it just for once, found it alright for kicks, but now you find out that it's a habit that sticks, and you're an orgasm addict. You're an orgasm addict. Sneaking in the back door with dirty magazines, so your mother wants to know what all the stains on the jeans, and you're an orgasm addict. You're an orgasm addict. You're getting assault, but you still keep a beating your meat to pulp, and you're an orgasm addict. You're an orgasm addict. You're a Casanova, you're a no Joseph. It's a live on a fucking yourself to death. Orgasm addict. You're an orgasm addict. You're making out with school kids, winos and heads of state. You've even made it with a lady who puts the little plastic runnings on the Christmas cakes. Butchers, assistants and bellhops, you've had them all here and there. Children of God and the joy strings, international women with nobody hair. Ooh, so well you're asking in an alley and your voice ain't steady. The sex mechanics are off, you're more than ready. You're an orgasm addict. You're an orgasm addict. Johnny won't fuck you always and always. He's got the energy, he will amaze. He's an orgasm addict. He's an orgasm addict. He's always at it. He's always at it. And he's an orgasm addict. He's an orgasm addict. I'm a street-walking cheetah with a hide full of napalm. I'm a runaway son of the nuclear A-bomb. I am the world's forgotten boy, the one who searches and destroys. But you gotta help me, please. Somebody gotta save my soul. Baby, detonate for me. Oh! Look out, honey, 'cause I'm using technology. Ain't got time to make no apology. So radiation in the dead of night, love in the middle of a firefight. Wanna gotta strike this man. Somebody gotta save my soul. Baby, better take my mind. And I'm the world's forgotten boy, the one who's searching to destroy. And honey, I'm the world's itching in the dead of night. Love in the middle of a firefight. Somebody gotta strike me blind. Somebody gotta save my soul. Baby, better take my mind. And I'm the world forgotten boy. The one who's searching to destroy. And here I am, the world's forgotten boy. The one who's searching to destroy. Forgotten boy. Forgotten boy. Forgotten boy. Yeah, forgotten boy.
Iggy Pop, of course, on Wintershins Radio. I don't know what the hell we played before that. But I got to tell you people about some stuff. What? Do you remember what it was?
I'm trying to remember what we played before, and I kind of don't.
Yeah.
Oh,
So why are you chiming in if you don't?
stuff? Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, so just
Okay, as you were.
sit there and look
Yeah.
pretty and let me do these plugs.
Oh,
All right.
you're gonna get slapped
Got-
again.
Got to tell you all about Hexfest. Hexfest is like, what, a week away? 2 weeks away? It's right around the corner. August 10th
Yeah.
to the 12th, 2018. Join in the magic. Tales of the magic of the Crescent City of New Orleans stretch back over the centuries. It's an enigmatic place where voodoo, hoodoo, witchcraft, and even Christianity blend at the crossroads of spirituality and power. On August 10th to the 12th, 2018, Brian Kane, Christian Day, and the Witches of New Orleans present Hexfest, a weekend of witchery held in the heart of the historic French Quarter. Conference opens up with the riverboat ritual and dinner held on an authentic steamboat on the Mississippi River, hosted by 2 full days of workshops, drumming, and ritual at the Bourbon Orleans Hotel, venue riddled with a history of hauntings. Hexfest has gathered witches, root workers, voodoo priests, and other magical teachers from within New Orleans and around the world to offer their time-honored wisdom. Between workshops, attendees will love the magical shopping in our on-site vending area where you can purchase powerful ritual tools, signed books, exquisite jewelry, and spellcrafts made by true practitioners. Here's the part where I have to catch my breath, because the presenters for 2018 hail from across the spectrum of witchcraft and magic. Our presenters include Brian Kane, Christian Day, Christopher Penzak, Judica Isles, Jason Miller, Fiona Horn, Jason Mankey, Edane McCoy, Crystal Madison, Witch Doctor Utu, Dragon Ritual Drummers, Star Cassis, Val Hughes, Lady Rhea, Lila Dorsey, Rosemary Ellen Gilly, Leanne Maramar, Christine Steffens, Ellie Barnes, Sandra Marie Wright, Sen Moise, Priestess Miriam, Carrie Ewers, Austin Shipley, Sen Elias, Rosie Adams, Levi Rowland, Priestess Claudia, and Marie Cabot. Go to hexfest.com and
Next
register
should be like
for your
2
tickets.
weeks, because it's,
It
I'm sure
should.
you have situations where there's 2 or 3 workshops that you really want to go to, and they're at the same time.
I don't know how it's going to work, but
Yeah.
one of the reasons, we're plugging Hexfest is because I'm at the next Hexfest, Hexfest 2019. So we got to get familiar with the product, as it were, and yeah, 3 days, man, a 3-part series by your dear Uncle Birch in magical warfare. I figured nobody else was going to cover that shit. And I was right. So that's what it's going to fucking be. A place called Hexfest. How nobody covered that, I don't even fucking know. But then then, so if you're coming over here to America, or traveling around America, and you've got the time off, put in for some more time off. Because you could do Hexfest, and then you could bip over to Conjure Gala, the Mile High Conjure Gala. That is September 29th and September 30th, 2018. The Mile High Conjure Gala, 2018, you can join the Master of Ceremonies, our good friend Candelo Kimbisa. This is historic Lumber Baron Inn, right in the heart of Denver, Colorado. Seminars will be given by esteemed practitioners of, but not limited to, root work, conjure, and other paths. I think if you say other paths, you don't really have to have that other qualifying statement, but whatever. Presenters include Candelo Kimbisa, Beverly Smith, Professor Charles Porterfield, Michelle Jackson, Ambrosine Laguerre, Professor Ames, Michael Cardenas, and Hoodoo San Moise. Man, Hoodoo San Moise is getting around. He's at all these events. You can follow Hoodoo San Moise around the states and do these galas and
butler or something.
Yeah. So that's coming up. So you got August, shit's happening, and then September, shit's happening. Eventually, there'll be a Conjure Gala in Hollywood. Mark my fucking words, people. But now, you can go to conjuregala.com and get tickets and get more information and learn about your gourmet paper bag lunch. I don't understand. I want to see pictures of the gourmet paper bag lunch. But yeah. And contrary to one post that was out there, and I didn't argue with it because I didn't see the point, I am not presenting at Conjure Gala. I was not asked. I would. I absolutely would. But I was not asked by these dear friends of mine. But somebody posted that I'm going to be there on this huge list of people. Somebody on our friends list posted that I was one of the presenters, and that's not true to my knowledge. If it is, somebody should tell me. I should have been informed, because I don't know what I would fucking present. But no, I'm not. I would, but I'll be Hexfest. I cannot, at this stage of my magical career, go to a bunch of festivals as a guest. I do not have the time. If I was going there to work, I could do that, but I will not be at the Conjure Gala. But you should be. Will not be Hexfest, because it's New Orleans. It's a very big thing. I will not be at Hexfest this year, but since I'm working next year, well, we'll be there. Yes. Me and Marta will be there. Probably not Sasha. Probably not Azzy. But me and Marta, we're going to be at Hexfest, New Orleans.
Find a way to bribe somebody to put them in the plane.
Yeah. We've got a dog that likes to follow us around and stuff. But those are our plugs. If you want to be amongst our plugs, if you want to sponsor the show, you want to have such a dramatic reading of the product that you carry, the dramatic reading that could only be had by Widdershins, contact us, widdershinsradio@gmail.com. We have sponsored positions open, and you could hear your product displayed with such dramacity as we have done here today at widdershinsradio@gmail.com. Back to our guest, Joey Morse. How are you?
I'm just listening to all about Hexfest, so I'm good.
You guys should come next year. It's
Yeah. You got time. August next year is a year away. You could plan it. I know y'all been talking, you and, y'all been talking about coming to the States.
The weather over there sucks in August, though, which is the only thing that I'm worried about. But otherwise,
Yeah.
it'll be fun.
Yeah.
Coming from Scotland, yeah, it's being really hot.
Yeah, I'll probably melt by the time we get there, but yeah. It would be amazing. I would really love to see New Orleans.
Never been. This will be our first time.
Nope.
Or I can't think of a better reason to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I always wanted to go to New Orleans, not so much the state or any part of the area surrounding New Orleans, but New Orleans itself would be amazing to see.
Mm.
And I'm glad we get to go next year.
Well, it's not some small-time operation. They're
Yeah.
paying for our hotel and our airfare.
Yep.
Gotta hats off to that. That makes it a lot easier to commit.
Yeah, wow.
So, Joey, we're talking about your book, we're talking about your YouTube, we're talking about your blog. What else you got? Is there more?
Well, yeah,
You doing
there's the
Gumroad yet?
podcast. No, I mean, I have my own store, so I tend to sell everything through my own store rather than Gumroad. But I'm also on Patreon. There you go. There's something else that I do. I can't believe I forgot about Patreon.
What is that? I don't know.
And then I do.
Let's write it.
Patreon is a fairly new website which supports. Oh, and there goes the cat. That's purely because we're recording right now. She has not done anything like that ever, and then the minute we're recording, she's knocking things over.
That's cat attitude.
Okay, so yeah. So Patreon is a site where creators get on there and people can support them. And what usually happens is that in spiritual terms, for example, there are different tiers that people can support you at, and you can set your tiers as a creator. So you can have like a $1 tier, you can have a $5 tier, you can have a $10 tier, and some people have, upwards of really expensive things. And people will offer different things at different tier levels to their supporters. So $1 tier, you might offer nothing but give gratitude for the support. $10 tier, depending on what you're doing. Say you're a tarot reader and you're offering like a 3-card draw or something at the $10 mark, and then maybe at the $50 mark you're offering an in-depth reading every month, and people basically pay every month to you as a creator, and you put content out there through Patreon, and it's a really
I think
wonderful.
Creator Xavier was talking about this site. Yeah.
He has one, yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah. I
so
never heard of
it's
it before that.
it's a really wonderful site right now. It's a lot less toxic than say YouTube is, or some of the other places are right now. It's really great, and you can interact with people, and they can choose to support you without having any content if they want, or they can choose the level of support they want to give and the amount of content that they get back. So Patreon's really awesome.
Sound good. All right. Well, I think we're getting to the portion of the show where we gotta play some music and do some plugs and be done with the thing. So, plug everything you have. Or I guess it's all through. She's smart. She's got it all through one site right here, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's my main hub. If you go to www.starryeyedsupplies.com, you can find pretty much everything I do there. It has a link. So that's the easiest one-stop shop place to go, and you can find just about everything through there. You can find links to the YouTube, the Patreon, the blog, everything. So it's nice and easy.
Okay. All right, Joey Morris, thanks for being on the show. Slap your man upside the head for us over here at Wittershins.
Will do. Thank you so much for having me on. It was fun.
Yeah, thanks for coming on.
Thank you.
All right. We will talk to you again. You are tuned to Wittershins. And I forgot to tell you before about our package.
Oh, God.
Marta's favorite part. You gotta like the show. You gotta follow the show. every show here on Spreaker has their own package. Some, as you might imagine, larger than others. Some people can be on the air longer than others, but all of us have this option of going on the air at random times. It might be for 15 minutes at a time, might be 30 minutes at a time, or if you have a large package like Widdershins, you'd be on the air for 3 hours at a time. Unlimited 3-hour broadcasts per day. We could do that. We might do that. We have done that. When shit's happening, we've popped on the air. And you, who didn't follow, you were clueless. You didn't know. You remained in ignorance. Why should that be? Why should you choose ignorance when you could just click follow? Click follow. If you don't have an account here at Spreaker, they'll suggest that you could sign in with your Facebook. 3 clicks away, you have a Spreaker account. You're in the chat room with all our wondrous chat room people, the people that are here for the live broadcast. They have their own show going on in the chat room, all kinds of stuff you can learn, all kinds of conversations you can have. It's a whole social network, people that know each other in our chat room. But you, if you didn't follow, you are ignorant to all of this. And you have chosen to remain ignorant. It's a shame for you. Yeah. Click follow, bitches. Word. Click follow, bitches. Just make an account. Follow. And be amazed what random stuff we come up with outside our regularly broadcast schedule.
Yes.
Say goodbye.
Goodbye. Wishes. See you next week.
anything as long as it's mine. And the door it opens way back in, or is it way back out? Any place is where she'll be. Any place she'll see you from. Lies and secrets become your world. Anytime, anywhere, she takes me away. And that climbs up the steps one by one. money that e'er I had, I've spent it in good company. And of all the harm that e'er I've done, alas, was done to none but me. And all I've done for want of wit, to memories now I cannot recall. So fill to me the parting glass. Good night and joy be with you all. Of all the comrades that e'er I had, they're sorry for my going away. And of all the sweethearts that e'er I had, they wish me one more day to stay. But since it falls unto my lot that I should rise while you should not, I will gently rise and I'll softly call. Good night and joy be with you all. Oh, if I had money enough to spend, and leisure time to sit a while, there is a fair maid in this town that surely has my heart beguiled. Her rosy cheeks and ruby lips, she alone has my heart in thrall. So fill to me the parting glass. Good night and joy be with you all. But since it falls unto my lot that I should rise while you should not, I will gently rise and I'll softly call. Good night and joy be with you all.